Miss Shannon's Comedy Through the Chaos is brought to you by the Minnesota State Arts Board and My Talk 1071. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Miss Shannon's Comedy Through the Chaos. I'm Miss Shannon, and in this episode, we're going to take a look at mental health. Obviously, this pandemic is definitely not helping things. Before the whole coronavirus thing blew up, more than 43 million Americans suffered from some form of mental illness. So we thought, 43 million. Now that's a good audience share. Seriously though, many mental health providers are concerned that that number will grow thanks to the chaos we're dealing with day to day. And we want you to know that if you're struggling with your own mental health challenges right now, you aren't alone. Maybe you're thinking mental illness is not a joke, and that is definitely not what we're trying to say here today. The folks on today's episode have all had their own mental health challenges, and one of the ways they've addressed it in their lives is through comedy. So if joking about their experiences helps them and laughing helps you, it's a win-win, right? Next up in our look at mental health is someone who can help you self-medicate with a tasty treat. My friend, the Bitter Baker.
Hello, and welcome back to The Bitter Baker. You may not be aware of it, but it is Mental Health Month this month, and I found something very distressing. There is a study that says that 1 in 4 Americans are extra depressed about this pandemic because they're missing not their spouse, their work spouse. So the reason why I'm preparing this recipe today is because I'm concerned that my work husband Clint is gonna forget who his real work wife is. I'm his perfect mate. All of our inside jokes during meetings. I always remember his birthday. Who helped you embezzle that cash from Copenhagen? Would Karen do that? So today we're making red velvet buntini into your marriage bunt cakes. Bunt in there? That doesn't really make sense. Well, I think we're ready to begin. I've already preset my oven to 350 degrees. And the first thing we're gonna do is start with our dry ingredients. We need to begin with 2.5 cups of flour, 1.5 cup unsweetened cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and we're gonna combine that together in one bowl. You can probably tell I am the type of person that needs constant attention. Some people might call that codependency. I call it just co-workers. In a separate bowl, we're gonna mix 1 cup of butter, 2 cups of just regular sugar, 4 eggs, 1 egg at a time. We wanna fully incorporate each egg before adding additional ones. Then we're gonna add 1 cup of sour cream, 1/2 cup of milk, and an entire bottle of red food coloring. Representing the blood, sweat, and tears, I put it into our Jim Pam office dynamic. Then 2 tablespoons of vanilla, which I call Karen. We're then going to incorporate our dry ingredients. Scraping the sides of the bowl, you really want to mix that well. So why would I choose this particular recipe for Clint? Well, I wanted to make something red velvet because I remember that he told me at our company picnic that that was his favorite. And I thought that was really funny because he was wearing a red shirt and it kind of looked velvet, but it was a really hot day. It was like 80 degrees in August. And I thought, wow, that's too formal for an occasion like this, but wow, you would look really good. So now we are gonna fill up our little buntinis. And we're gonna fill these about halfway. Just kind of like a bunt pan though, because you don't wanna get it on the stem. You don't wanna get it in the middle, just a little on the side. Once our cakes are cooled, we can frost them. And I'm just gonna pipe in that buttercream frosting and I'm gonna top them each with a raspberry. And I picked a raspberry because of our, because remember raspberries? Inside joke. And that's the recipe. Thank you again for joining The Bitter Baker. And don't forget to tune in next time where we're going to attempt to prepare a recipe my mother suggested. It's a dessert, it's British, and it's called Spotted Dick. It's been so long since I've seen one. Might take her up on it.
All right, everyone, please welcome to the stage, Tiffany Norton. Yay! Woo!
Waving the white flag in front of everybody already. Hello, crowd. It has become obvious to me that I have been doing stand-up comedy for far too long. That's because I have noticed that recently I've been getting jealous of other people's really messed up childhoods. That's not something you should be envious of. I remember chatting it up with a guy in a bar, and he was sharing a story with me about the fact that when he was 8 years old, he was given up for adoption.
And his real family only lived a few miles away from the orphanage, and they never visited him in the entire time that he was there until he was 18 years old. I know. And I just looked at him and I was like, wow, good story. Quit bragging, you know, because I don't have anything good like that in my family. We've just got destructive narcissism and dyslexia. You can't get an HBO special that way. Need something with some grit. Let's see. My therapist told me, and I do go to therapy on occasion, and she shared with me that one of the best things you can do for yourself in times of crisis is to forgive yourself for your mistakes, which I think is true and good advice, but it's also a terrible thing to say about your children. Really accurate, though. Dating has not been good for my mental health. I just got divorced last year, and I am now remembering why I'm so bad at dating, because I have a hard time remembering people's names that I've slept with. I usually just remember the nickname I gave them after I broke up with them. So I dated one guy I called the Truffle Hunter. I'll let you figure that one out. One guy I dated I called the Centaur. And the reason why I named him the Centaur was because from the navel up, he was completely hairless. But from the waist down, he was completely covered in hair. So every time he came out of the shower, it looked like he was wearing little fur pants. Best night of our relationship was when I got him drunk on tequila and talked him into wearing clogs around my apartment. It was great. But pre-COVID, I went on a date, and generally I have to sleep with you for you to get into the nickname range. This gentleman, though, one date is nickname worthy. I call this gentleman Anthrax Boy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the reason why I call him that is he invited me out to a nice Italian restaurant for dinner, and we started chatting, and he shared with me that he was in the military and that he's extremely pro-life, and he's a staunch Republican. And the reason why he's extremely pro-life is because while he was in the service, when he was deployed, there was concern that the troops would get infected with anthrax. And so what they did was they injected all the soldiers with small amounts of it so that their body could develop immunity to the anthrax virus. Well, apparently in 1 in 100,000 cases, that can render the person getting that treatment impotent. And that had happened to this man. And he also went on to share with me the reason why he's extremely pro-choice is because his girlfriend, when they were in high school before he deployed, was pregnant and decided to terminate the pregnancy without his knowledge. Now, no matter how you guys feel about any of the subjects that I just shared, I think we can all agree that is a lot of shit to share before the bread comes. All right, I'm Tiffany Norton. Thank you so much, Shannon. Thank you.
Of course, awesome job, Tiffany. For more Bitter Baker videos, you can like and subscribe to her channel on YouTube and on Facebook. Now, our next performer not only shares his life experiences with audiences, he also spends his days working with children, many of whom have special needs, and sharing his talent for storytelling. So I sat down with storyteller Greg Pickett.
Oh, hello there. What are you doing here?
I know, it's such a surprise. I do really appreciate you letting me bug you when you're just getting off work, though. That's great.
No worries.
Yeah. So not only do you do professional storytelling, you're also a paraprofessional here at Sparrow Academy, which I'll be honest, you're actually my son's paraprofessional. So thank you very much for everything that you do, because sometimes my kid is a bit much.
He's great. They're all great.
But how did you get into that line of work in the first place, like working with these kids, which we really appreciate?
Well, thank you. I actually, when I moved to Minnesota, let's just say I moved to Minnesota. I can say why. I moved to Minnesota.
Did you move here for love?
Yeah, I did. I got married, and this is where she wanted to go.
Well, that's fine. That happens a lot.
It happens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But her friend, who was a principal at a school, Green Central, I believe it was called, gave me my first job as a paraprofessional.
Oh.
Had no idea what that was. Had no idea I was going to fall in love with being a paraprofessional. And I don't have kids of my own, but apparently kids like me, and I like kids, and I really like to help kids with special needs, because it amazes me their resilience and how many times that they show that they got sense more than the kids that don't have special needs. So.
Well, thank you. No, I mean, I appreciate it. And as a parent of a kid who is on the spectrum, it really is, it warms your heart to know that they're with somebody that really cares about them, and you can provide this really great environment for them. Yeah. So not only are you a paraprofessional by day, you're also a professional storyteller. I read that in the school they actually put out a newsletter and they did a profile on you, and they were talking about how you're a professional storyteller.
Yep.
And you mentioned in the profile that a lot of times when you say you're a professional storyteller, that people are like, that's a thing?
It's such a thing, and I'm still wrapping my mind around it being a thing. For years, I was a professional spoken word artist. I did poetry for 15-something years,
Right.
and when I'm, again, living in Minnesota, a story slam
Right.
came across my Facebook page. And I've been in many poetry slams, and I
Right.
said, what's a story
Story
slam?
slam.
And the person who was running it said, it's basically like a poetry slam, but instead of 3 minutes, you get 5 minutes.
Right.
And I was like, what? A whole extra 2 minutes? And so it was a blessing, because all the years of poetry slam experience I like put into story slam, and it's worked out for me, because
Right.
I've won some awards and things. So
And I have been very fortunate enough to see you perform at some of the story slams in town.
yep,
And
you
it
were
is
there when I
fantastic.
won the first one.
Thank you. You did a fantastic story. I
Thank you.
appreciated that. And the thing that I think is really interesting, and what a lot of storytellers that I know do, is that they use their personal experiences in their art. And were you doing that as a poet as well?
I was.
Mm-hmm.
Years and years ago, I met Gwendolyn Brooks,
Mm-hmm.
and she told me, always write the truth.
Right.
The moment you stop writing the truth, you're no longer writing poetry. And so again, that's something that I transferred over to storytelling.
And
So-
the other great thing is not only are the stories really genuine and personal, they really use a lot of humor. And do people look at you funny when they go, how could you make that funny? Or this thing that was hard in your life?
Yeah.
How is that? How are you laughing about that now?
You know, it's one of those things where I feel like came with experience. A quick story, I was doing a story slam when I first got started. It was like maybe my first or second time doing it. And it was a tough story. I'm a recovering heroin addict. And the first line of the story was something like, heroin is just terrible. And people laughed. And I was like, what? I said, wait a minute. The next line, they'll understand this is funny. And so I said the next line, and they laughed harder. And in my mind, I said, okay, this is funny now. And I told the story, and I won. And I was like, sometimes we have the ability to take something that's really tough and really hard, and because of the way that we tell it,
Right.
it can be funny. You know what I
Right.
mean? If someone's going to get some sort of laughter out of it, you telling the story is cathartic in itself.
Right.
So I feel like that was the more important lesson I learned from it.
Right. Well, we appreciate you sharing not only your recovery stories, but also everything about you showed us some of your mental health challenges. You put that into your storytelling as well. And I think it really does a great job of making people who aren't currently on the stage with you know that you are with them in life.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It gets hard sometimes, and I still suffer from, oh my God, I'm so alone. And then I have a few Facebook friends that are like, a little perspective. You've won this and you've won that, and I would give anything to be in your position right now. And I'm like, really?
Right.
And you never know what the next person is going through. So that's why I feel like storytelling is so important to me, because in poetry, I wasn't really able to say everything that I wanted to say, because I was trying to make it poetic.
Right.
Now, I don't have to be poetic. I can just say whatever I want to say.
Right.
And it's either going to be funny or it's going to be, heart-wrenching. But either way, it's going to be said, and hopefully somebody will need to hear it. And that's why I do it.
In general, how do you feel after you told one of those stories that's about something personal?
It is like such a weight that's been lifted. Especially, there's been some times in my career where I've had to tell a story that I know I've needed to tell for years,
Right.
and I never told anyone. And I told it, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I'm glad everyone laughed, but you don't know how good I feel now.
Right.
And so, and this day, this is what I call these days of love and Rona. That's what I call these days now.
Right.
In the days of love and Rona, it's so important to have that kind of feeling, because it's crazy out here right now, and just knowing that a few words can like really change someone's life. Even if they come out of my own mouth, they might change my own life. So.
Right. Well, Greg, we appreciate you sharing your stories with us. We can't wait to see you on our stage on Comedy Through the Chaos.
Thank you so much for having me. I haven't been on stage in months, and like everyone's like, "Oh, just use Zoom." No, I'm tired of Zoom. I've been on so many Zoom calls, but to actually be on a stage, I will forever be in your debt
Thank
for
you so
letting
much,
me be on
Greg.
the
I
stage.
appreciate you sharing everything with us. So,
Thank you.
and I'm glad that you don't have to go back to work.
Yeah,
after this whole
the
thing.
bus is that way.
Okay. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Maybe we should offer him a ride. Bye. All right, originally from Chicago, he now calls Minneapolis his home. It's paraprofessional by day, storyteller by night, the winner of multiple story slams, including the 2019 National Storytelling Festival and the 2019 Twin Cities Moth Grand Slam. Please welcome Greg Pickett.
Oh, this is a whole thing, huh? All right. Hi, my name is Greg, and I'm a recovering heroin addict. I've been clean since December 2nd, 2009. Thank you. That's not what this story is about. I just like to tell people about it because I'm proud. This story starts when I was in the Navy. And the most important thing I learned when I was in the Navy is that I have bipolar disorder. I would hurt myself often in the Navy because I'm not very good with tools, and I would be working and I'd drop a wrench or an engine or something on myself and I had to go to the doctor. And in the Navy, they would say, if you go to the Navy doctor, they're just gonna tell you to drink some water. No matter what ails you, the cure is to drink water. And so I went in to see the Navy doctor. I had dropped this wrench or something on my foot, and I was in good spirits, and he says, oh, you're fine. Don't worry about the pain, just drink some water. And then a couple weeks later, I come back. This time I messed up my knee. I dropped something even heavier, and I'm like limping, and I'm really hurting, and not in good spirits. And this doctor says, you're not in great spirits like you were last time. You might be bipolar. I said, really? Is that your expert medical opinion, Mr. Doctor? He said, yeah, it is. I said, okay, well, fine. What am I gonna do about the knee? He said, you'll be fine, just drink some water. I was like, not a brace or anything. He said, no, just drink some water, you'll be fine. So I was leaving his office and I thought, wait a minute, maybe this bipolar thing is a thing for real. So I said, hey, Doc, what am I supposed to do about the bipolar disorder? And he says, drink some water, you'll be fine. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna drink some water. So I got out of the Navy and I went back to college, and I was going to Western Illinois University. And when you have bipolar disorder, you have good days and you have bad days. And I was there, one of these older students, and the good days were kind of dwarfed by the bad days. And I thought, wait a minute, I have access now to a psychiatrist. So I go to see the psychiatrist on campus, and I said, hey, when I was in the Navy, they said I might be bipolar. Can we figure it out? So they ran some tests, we had some sessions, and eventually this psychiatrist says, yes, I do believe you have bipolar disorder. And I said, okay, well, I guess that would explain a lot. And it was crazy because she said, would you like some water? And I was like, are you serious right now? And she's like, whoa. So I said, so Doc, what do we do? Is there anything kind of medication? And she says, well, I'd like to get you started on a little medication. It's a little thing called lithium. And I was like, lithium? This is like 2000 something. I'm like, isn't that what they used like in the 60s? Like, it's kind of old school, Doc. Is there anything newer we could try? She said, I'm an old school doctor, and it's a tried and true thing. Trust me, you're gonna do well with the lithium. Just make sure you don't drink on it. So what she didn't know is, while I was struggling with, this substance abuse, I was a raging alcoholic. And I was like, yeah, don't drink on lithium. No problem, I could do that. So I'm taking this lithium, and I'm reading the directions, and instead of water, I just substitute water with whiskey. And instead of having good days and bad days, I noticed that I was having blank days. There was just nothing. There was no creativity, no laughter, no crying, nothing. Every day was just meh. I had a girlfriend at the time. I don't know how that happened, but I had a girlfriend at the time. And one day, me, her, we were at a mutual friend's house, and we're just hanging out, kicking it. And that particular morning, for some reason, I decided I'm just gonna eat this lithium like Skittles, and I'm gonna drink this whiskey like Kool-Aid. And I'm popping them back, and I looked at my girlfriend at the time with a smile on my face. I said, I've been meaning to tell you something. I kind of hate you. I kind of wish you were never born. every time you take a breath, I feel someone in the world dies. If you could just not be around me ever, I'd really, really appreciate it. And she was very visibly hurt, and she says, oh, I see. And she got up and calmly left our friend's apartment. And then my friend says, oh my God, Greg, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I don't know, I feel lighter. I don't know. I also feel kind of tired. I'm gonna go take a nap. So I go to my house, or my apartment, and I open the door. I walk in the door. As soon as the door closes, I realize what I said. And I'm like, oh my God, why would I say that? And I call her, I'm like, I'm so sorry. She's like, oh, no, it's way too late. And I'm like, no, you know. And it just so happened I had an appointment with the psychiatrist the next day. Walk into the office, he says, how's everything going? I said, well, yesterday I took, I don't know, like half this bottle with like a whole bottle of whiskey, and it was not a good thing. She said, but you're still alive. And I was like, and I remember I gave this response kind of like these guys on anime cartoons. I was like, oh, like I remember doing that. I was like, oh, I almost died. Well, let's keep me alive. Let's try a different medication. And she said, you know what? You've had bipolar disorder your entire life. And when you started, smoking marijuana and the other things, you were basically self-medicating. And I believe that you might want to just stay on that path. I said, hold on, Doc. Let me be clear. You telling me it's okay for me to smoke weed for medicinal purposes? That's what you're saying? She says, well, yeah, basically it's my opinion as a doctor. I said, you can make the prescription out to Gregory, G-R-E. She said, hold on there, buddy. It's not legal here in Illinois yet. So that was a long time ago. And since then, I still have bad days, and I still have good days, and I don't smoke so much of the marijuana anymore. But I always make sure I have some water with me. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate Greg Pickett sharing his story with us and for encouraging us to stay hydrated. That's all good. Okay, our next performer, he's a good friend of mine. He works at Acme Comedy Company in Minneapolis and delivers pizzas in a city that shall remain nameless. Please keep it going for Mike Harley.
Hey, some water. How you guys doing? Hey. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for having me here. Happy Armageddon. Yeah, if you celebrate the holidays, I don't know, it could be. I just want everybody to have a good apocalypse. That's basically what I'm trying to say. No, it's good to be here, guys. It's been a little weird out there. You know what I mean? Parking lots are empty everywhere you go, except for the fast food places. Like, they're just packed constantly now. And I think I was at McDonald's today. Yes, I think they need to install walls in between the parking spaces. That way sad people don't have to look at each other while they eat. You know what I mean? Like, you know what goes well with a 20-piece of McNuggets? Not eye contact. Like I don't know if you guys have ever looked up like from your extra value meal with a bouquet of fries sticking out of your mouth, and then lock eyes with somebody sitting in the next car, and recognize them from breakfast. It's not a good feeling. It's not how we want to start selecting people for breeding. It's not, I don't know. I don't do good. I don't do too good with first impressions, you guys. I think it's because I have kind of a racist face. Yeah, thanks for confirming that. That's great. No, I can tell though, because people are just way too comfortable being racist around me. Yeah, they just, people I don't even know. They just see me. They're just he'll probably be on board. Like the other day, I was talking to this guy, and I mentioned to him that I deliver pizzas, right? And this was before the plague, so he didn't thank me for my service or anything like that. No, the first thing he says to me when I tell him that, he goes, oh, yeah? So tell me something. What kind of people are the worst tippers? Yeah, feel that? So I'm just like, I don't know, man. Women. Yeah, I don't get it, but, I've done the math, and for some reason they tip 78% of what men tip for the exact same service. It's, Yeah, he didn't get it either. I don't know. I do deliver pizzas, you guys. I've been doing that for the last 13 years. I'm just now getting the respect I deserve. Constantly being thanked for my service during these uncertain times. And, I appreciate the thought and everything, but I just want to ask, like, how safe do you think my job is during certain times? Like, 40% of all workplace fatalities happen on the road, for one. And number two, my job is to drive at night to strangers' houses alone. Like, I'm basically a victim on demand. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, I'll take a large pepperoni, a large sausage, and a large stoner who won't be missed. It's like, I don't know. Not to mention the fact that, like, everyone in this room has ordered pizza during a snowstorm. Yeah, thanks, dicks. Oh, honey, should we go out to eat tonight? What are you, nuts? The roads are glare ice. Let's just order a poor person to do it. I don't know. It's not the worst job in the world, I guess. I don't know. It's definitely not the fantasy they make it look like in the movies, Lonely housewives, they pay with cash or card every time. Like, they never find another way. Training videos are bullshit. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. It's, I guess that's all right, though. It's just, wasn't going to happen anyway now with contactless delivery, I think the Me Too movement's gone a little far, but I don't know. I never got that contact. Like, we didn't want to touch you guys in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, God, some of the people I've been delivering to, like, they've been putting themselves under self-quarantine for years, all right? And, I mean, I think I've delivered to every surviving member of the Garbage Pail Kids. Harry the Hoarder, Showerless Shelly, Visible Dick, all the classics, all right? Like, I've been inside so many shitty apartments. At this point, I think I can identify different kinds of cat piss, like a fine wine. Yeah. Oh, hello, ma'am. Oh, do I detect Tabby, 98? Oh, you don't have a cat? Oh. Caucasian, 54? Oh. So, anyway, I know you'll be disappointed, but I am no longer single. I started living with my girlfriend lately, out of complete non-necessity because of the plague. No, it's going good. I like it. I like being in a relationship. It's been a little while. Things are good and new and stuff. I feel bad though, because I don't know. Like, I spent all my 20s going from like one failed relationship to the next, and at this point, I just kind of feel like, don't any of those credits transfer? like I don't know. Like, I've taken Intro to Her Parents like 12 times. Like, I think I should be able to like test out of this one. You know what I mean? It's like, it sucks because my girlfriend, she wants me to be romantic, and it's just like, sweetie, I've been romantic like 100 times. You weren't there. Like, dinners, plays, museums, chocolate candy, breakfast in bed, bed and breakfast, homemade coupon books for free blow jobs. I've tried everything. You know what I mean? Like, I ran out of ideas like 3 soulmates ago. And I don't know. I just, I could tell her, yeah, we can do something if you want. I can dig through the files. We can rehash something I've definitely done with somebody else. Or we can break the mold, smoke a joint, and watch some porn, I mean, hey, it's your birthday. I'm just throwing out ideas. My mom is excited that we're living together, though. It's kind of nice. She's really rooting for a plague-inspired grandbaby. It's really, really nice. Every time I see her now, she's like, "You're not using protection, are you?" It's like, Mom, I don't know. It's like, first of all, of course not. But second of all, like, look, you don't get to plan the first planned pregnancy in the history of this family. All right? Like, I got a legacy to uphold, okay? Like, yeah, if I have kids, I'm going to find out when they're adults, like my father did and his father before him. Anyway. So, changing topics entirely, I'm seeing a therapist. Yeah, a couple other people in here. Yeah, who in here is mentally ill? Yep, 100% of the comics that showed up. That is good stuff. I like it. Yeah, I know people. They always say there's a stigma, but I don't know. Us millennials, we treat it like a badge of honor. You know what I mean? I actually also have bipolar disorder, and yeah, it's pretty depressing and exciting. Yeah, you have good days, you have bad days. One day you're crying in the shower. Next day you're joyriding your Toyota Celica over the snow-covered hills of a golf course. Yeah. Going to a Radisson hotel at 1 a.m. with your sunglasses on. Going up to the front desk, checking in under the name God, and trying to pay for a room with a bag of weed. For example. Yeah, my example. That was all me, you guys. True story. Yeah, and so, now they say that I have bipolar disorder, but half of me thinks that's kind of bullshit. Because, all right, the depression part I get, right? And, I have no problem with that. I'll take it. It's good when you want to be a comic to have that on your resume. But bipolar, I don't know, all that other crazy stuff, I only did all that stuff, the one time. All right? Yeah, it was a weird day, but... if we're going to start judging people on stuff that happens once, then, yeah, I'm a bipolar gay skydiver with chicken pox. Doesn't mean that's going on my Tinder profile. You know what I mean? I don't know. I have a theory, though, you guys. Here's why I think that all actually happened, all right? I have allergies. There's more. Stay with me. And when I say I have allergies, I mean, bad allergies, I'm allergic to all trees, okay? Every tree, all right? Yeah, I get an asthma attack from the things that are supposed to make breathing possible. You understand? So, in an effort to fight those allergies, my doctor prescribed me this really powerful steroid called prednisone, all right? And some of you have probably heard of it. And it's really powerful stuff. And he told me when he gave it to me, he said, drink a lot of water. And he said, make sure you never take it on an empty stomach. And that was about it. He failed to tell me not to take it with acid. And all right, to be fair, okay, when I bought the acid, that guy never told me not to take it with prednisone. But the point is, somebody should have been a little more responsible here. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? I don't know if any of you guys have ever done acid on steroids. It's like acid on steroids. Do you ever have so much fun that it got you diagnosed with a mental disorder? It's the most fun you could have, right? I'm not complaining. I'm just, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it again. I'm just saying a little warning would have been nice. Just put that right on the side of the bottle. Side effects may include increased energy, immortality, seeing through the matrix, thinking you can turn back time by walking backwards, and getting tased and arrested in the Radisson parking lot. For example. All right, I'm going to be honest with you guys. That was the best day of my life. Seriously, even getting tased by the cops. I don't think I've ever been luckier to have a racist face. All right, I think I'm done. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. This show definitely is not a substitute for therapy, but what we are hoping for is that you see how mental health affects everybody. Having a laugh can be therapeutic. Believe it or not, this is backed up by science. There are plenty of studies out there showing that laughing is good for you. So whether you're laughing at us or with us, the important thing is that you're laughing. Also, we encourage you to reach out for help if you're struggling. A great place to start in Minnesota would be by contacting Care Counseling, or if you're someplace else in the U.S., NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, is there for you. So don't be afraid to reach out. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and just look for Comedy Through the Chaos. We would love to hear from you before our next show. Wonder what goes down when we put this show together? Here's a little peek behind the scenes. We'll see you next time.